in the reaction, how much it was at stake. So that made it a game that in the beginning, especially the first 20 minutes, you could not see much, especially in any long sequences of play. And then the game started to settle, and yeah, after the red card, when we needed to, settle, make the adjustment at halftime, in the first action straight after the halftime, we conceded a foul, a wide free kick, and then a corner, and conceded a goal.
Did you expect the sort of physically intense game we got? I mean, right from that first challenge, I think the first foul was Cucurella on Saka, and it didn't let up really from there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, what made you expect that? Just the fact it's a London derby.
I mean, what is at stake? I mean, two top teams fighting for the Premier League, so it's normal.
What problems did they give you tactically, 11 against 11?
The same that we gave to them. The moment that someone finds a superiority, a free player with the space and man-to-man, you have to track back. So it's clear on all the direct balls and second balls and who wins that duel.
At half-time, what did you say to your players, and how near the top of the list was don't get a red card now, especially with them down to 10?
Yeah, so we had 4 players with yellow cards, and you could see that they were targeting those players to get the game even, and probably stay away from that. The one probably with biggest risk, it was Ricky. That's why I had to take him out against Estebao or Neto, that he could come in and look for him. We've done that, but we didn't really settle, because the first action in the second half, long ball, they get a foul, wide free kick, corner, and a score. And then emotionally, you need to get through that. And it took us a while to get set, to get fixed, to be much more patient than we were in certain moments, to move them, to generate the spaces, and then we scored a brilliant goal. And then, we had 2 or 3 big chances, but the reality is every time that the keeper catches the ball, they were in transition.
Yes, they were.
To be honest, you wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of one of those challenges. Caicedo's a top-class football player, and he'll be absolutely fuming with himself right now, knowing that he's made a big mistake that's going to cost his team in terms of his availability moving forward.
And their 4th red card of the season, twice as many as any other team at this stage, which is not ideal 13 games into a season when you are potentially pushing on for a title. Having said all that, they still managed to find a way to get themselves in front. Did that come as a surprise at the start of the second half?
It did, I think, for everyone in the arena, how loud they screamed. It was a magnificent cross into the box. The connection from Chalobah, who again I thought was brilliant today. And adding those goals to a game, in these tight situations, it's 2 teams who are the leaders in terms of goals from set pieces. We're used to seeing Arsenal doing things like this to the opposition, and today it's Chelsea.
The new set piece things.
Yeah, showing them what it's all about. They've got the players in the box that can make those connections, but it's always important when we talk about how many set piece goals teams score, but I think having players who can deliver crosses like that time and time again, that is also a unique skill set. Not every team has someone who can deliver a ball right to a player and consistently do it. The repetitions that these guys are putting out, the output in terms of, we're going to put it in this zone and it goes into that zone, and it's evolving. And I think specialists, we talk about long throw specialists, Liam Delap's dad was one of them. Now we're seeing set piece specialists, specifically corner guys, and it's like we're seeing a lot more assists, less in open play and more from set pieces now.
But a details team like Arsenal would be devastated to concede in that manner by the same token.
It will just show the fact he wants to leave in Gabriel back as quick as possible, because I felt throughout the whole game, it's probably the most vulnerable Arsenal were. At times Chelsea found it comfortable, when they're attacking them in times, and there was a lot of mistakes from the centre-halves as well at times. No one really showed the leadership skills in that sense to get control of the players and the play, and it didn't look as organised. And I think that would be the worry looking in an Arsenal sense. But look, it's a point which, yes, you look back at it now, you would have taken it, of course. However, they'd be disappointed they conceded from a set piece, and it's a bit of their own medicine, isn't it?
Bit of disappointment you saw on the players' faces, didn't you, at full time, having equalised through Mikel Merino with still half an hour to go, that they didn't manage to find that extra gear they needed. Gap to the rest, with Bournemouth at the top of the bottom right now, Spurs in that bottom half. Liverpool climbing up to 8th, Manchester United up to 7th, Brighton climbing today up to 5th, Villa into the top 4, Chelsea now 3rd. Their gap to Arsenal is 6 points. City are 5 behind the leaders, Arsenal.
Reece, well played. A real battle of a London derby. That you're pretty proud on the whole of the way you pushed them to the limit today.
Yeah, it's obviously disappointing, to come away with only 1 point. we went down to 10 men pretty early in the game, and that made it difficult. I felt we had a lot more of the ball when it was 11v11, and going down to 10 made it more difficult.
Yeah, and God, that really says something that you stood here disappointed against a team like that, given that they had that man advantage for so long. Does that tell you about the progress you've made?
No, I think everyone can see, where we are, what we are fighting for. I think today was, a big statement. Even though we wanted to win, there's lots of positives to take from that.
How were you able to give them so many problems tactically in that first sort of 30, 40 minutes before obviously Caicedo got the red card?
No, we worked hard. There's a lot of, analysis and, hard work from the managing staff that, sets us up the right way and wants us to, play and perform in a certain way that, he thinks will hurt them.
Physically, in that midfield particularly, did it feel like a game on the edge? Looking from the sideline, it almost felt like a red card was maybe inevitable in that match.
I mean, if you look at the amount of yellows there were, I thought there was, going to be one more red. There was so many.
Even after Caicedo,
yeah, there was, maybe 7 or 8 players, on yellows throughout, both
Why
teams.
do you think that was?
Oh, it's a London derby.
Right.
Everyone wants to win this game.
Daft question.
Yeah.
How did you enjoy the battle in that midfield? There was a time where it was, maybe last season, unusual to see you in there, but now, look, I'm going to give you the Player of the Match award in a minute or two. So you're able to match top players and run a game now. No,
I think Arsenal are, they've been at the top for the last few years. Playing them is, we knew it wasn't going to be easy, and no, their midfield is tough, but we done what we could today and tried to play our game and hurt them off the ball.
Yeah. Did you get a view of the red card for Moisés?
No, I haven't seen it back, so no, I have no comment on that.
Fine. What did the manager say at half time about reshaping you?
No, he changed, the formation slightly. We knew we wasn't, going to have the ball as much, and they was going to come, and we had to, soak up the pressure and try and catch them, on the counter, which, we did a few times, but, we didn't have the final touches.
Yeah, and as you said already, though, despite the disappointment, a statement performance matching them like that.
Yeah, I think, I'm proud of the boys. It was, electric, here at Stamford Bridge today, and, we take a point and move forward.
Well done, Reece. You are, as I said earlier, the player of the match.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done, mate.
Yes, well done to Reece James, player of the match today. How pleased can Chelsea be with that performance, and how pleased can Reece James be with his own performance today?
I think firstly for Chelsea, they'll be very pleased. I think the manager will be in that dressing room congratulating the players for sticking to the task and understanding it was a naive tackle by Caicedo, but how focused they were to ensure that Arsenal weren't going to get clear chances. They worked tirelessly as a team. Everybody, every last one of them gave absolutely everything, and that's what it's all about. In order to be successful, you've got to sacrifice yourself as an attacker, for sure. When you've got 10 men, it's important for you as one of the attackers to not necessarily think about scoring goals, and usually you'd reserve your energy to score goals, whereas in this case you reserve your energy to defend and ensure that you're making it difficult for the opposition. As for Reece James, I mean, we're talking about a player who's been in the first team environment now for many years and has become a senior player for this group. He's been at the club nearly 20 years.
On today's performance, you're playing against Declan Rice and Caicedo next to him, and he's player of the match. For me, looking at the Arsenal sense, they'd be disappointed and they didn't test him enough. But he was absolutely outstanding today. He really was, from start to finish.
The game was really in the balance, wasn't it? I suppose the sense was that Arsenal were going to push for a winning goal, having equalised with half an hour to go. We had to wait, really, Theo, until the last seconds of the game for this moment. What has happened here is Gyökeres surely has got to be screaming at Timber to get out of the way of that.
This is when you get desperate towards the end of games and you want to obviously commit loads of bodies forward. You always feel, though, if a right back's in this position, I would be asking question Gyökeres now. I'll be pulling him and just saying, look, this is my space. This is why I'm on the pitch. But look, he's been doing it all season, but just, he'd be disappointed with that. No doubt of that. I think we wouldn't see that. But it just annoys me when players are just out of position. But I understand why Arsenal committed so many bodies, but that's what they faced today, and it was disappointing on their side.
Was that a late let-off for Chelsea?
Very much so. I'm there thinking, Timber! And I'm like, all of a sudden, it's like, you better move. I need to be the guy coming on the pitch and attacking this thing, and you're thinking to yourself, "Oh, just move out the way."
But
Let
Yokros
me
is
do
sometimes
me.
too nice, I think. He's not,
He'd have been fuming. He'd have been fuming
will,
about
right?
that. Of
Yeah.
course, you're going home thinking to yourself, I want to say something to him, you know, but you know what? He was in my spot. And at the end of the day, he got the leap, he had the power, the connection was all off.
Would have been some story, wouldn't it, for Gyökeres back from injury, coming off the bench, and that was just going to be his moment to win the game for Arsenal in these late stages. It didn't happen. And I suppose Arsenal were favourites, really, Theo, after that red card in the first half to Moisés Caicedo. Daniel spoke